Okay, so now while you were serving your basically life sentence in Lorton for murder, how did you manage to come to be uh, kind of in control of a lot of what was going on and dominating officers and inmates? Seems like a pretty big and almost hard to believe or incredible task for one man to accomplish. How did you pull it off?
Well, first, I like to say it was my intelligence, um, my ability to perpetuate fear, and then it took a lot of trust. I was I had no idea that I was going to get the control over Lawton that I had. You know, the warden gave it to me, but here's why he gave it to me. He gave me that type of control. When
It
I
was about
first got
1979 when you went to Lorton?
78.
78, okay.
Yeah, it was 78. They kept me locked down for a few months. It was 79 when I got out. And Cadillac was there, but a ride took place and he immediately got shipped out. The feds didn't want to take me back. You know, they said, no, now we don't life sentence. He just left here. We put him out. They put me out. You want to know about that? That's all in my book. They cleaned my jacket up in Lewisburg, recommended me for parole, and put me out. So
they wanted to be.
They want to be through it. So they wouldn't set me back. They kept me in law after that ride that took place in May of 79. So a new warden came in right after. His name was Benny Hodges. So me and my friend Duffy, we was walking the yard and we was talking about the conditions back there behind the wall. And we seen this guy come in through the gate, the front gate. He had a suit on, Jerry curls, looking sort of fly, you know. And we were walking past the walkway that he was coming down, and he seen us, he stopped us, and he spoke to us. So we introduced ourselves, you know. So I introduced myself as M. McQueen Hill, and my friend introduced himself as Doja Hazel. So he explained to us that he was a new warden, you know. So but when I told him my name, he ragged back and he looked at me. He said, "Oh," he said, "so you the guy that's been running my institution?" So I said, "No, I haven't been running your institution." He said, "I thought you would be 6'7", you know, weighing about 250 and have a big old scar across your face." He said, "Yeah, you're a nice looking guy. You're a pretty boy. How you running my institution?" I said, "Warden, you got me mixed up. I'm not running your institution." I said, "I'm just trying to, you know, live a simple life here. I'm trying to stay in Lawton and keep from going back to the feds." So he said, I said, "and I'm trying to keep peace around me." Now, here's why he said that. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Because when I got to Lawton, it was a lot of thievery going on, you see. And when I left the feds, and when I was down Lawton the first time, I left my locker open. That was a habit of mine. My cell stayed open when I was in Leavenworth, Lewisburg, Petersburg, El Reno, Terre Haute. Hey, nobody stole from me. So when I got down there, they was doing a lot of stealing in the cell block I was in. So I started smacking them. You know, I put my soldiers on them, have staff. I was breaking their jaw. And I was checking them in, the PC block. So he heard about that. And he liked it that because it brought order. Because wherever thieves is at, you ain't got nothing as it is. We didn't have nothing as it is. You know, little property here, little property there, and people stealing it. You know, it creates a lot of confusion and it causes death and unrest. So he was happy to see that I was doing something constructive. So one thing led to another. They had 3 blocks. which was across the walk from the population block. It was called the Blue Room. It was maybe like about 4 or 5 Moors over there that had came back from Marion, Illinois, federal penitentiary. They was wreaking havoc out. I'm talking about the officers couldn't even go in the block without wearing rain clothes. They had to wear rain hat, rain suit. They wore their shields because the inmates, them brothers would take baby oil bottles and they would defecate in them, vomit in them, put eggs in them, magic shade, pee in them, and they would shake all that stuff up and set it in the corner and wait for them to come in. And they would come in, they would shoot them down. And man, that smell wouldn't get off for 3 or 4 weeks. I don't care how much they washed. You see what I'm saying? So they would come in there and it was getting so they couldn't even feed. And then when they got through eating, the inmates on that same tier where the Moors was running, they would throw their food all up on the wall. So garbage, it was unsanitary conditions in there, and the officers couldn't clean it up because they weren't allowed them to clean it up. So the warden came to me. And he asked me, he said, man, I need a favor. So I said, what you talking about, warden? He said, you think you can go on 3 blocks and straighten out my block? He said, I can't even send my officers up in there. He said, when they count, they got to have rain clothing on, they got to have these shields. So I say, he said, the reason why I'm asking you, he said, because you the grand sheik of the Moors out here. You their leader. He said, the ones that doing all that cause me all the problem over there is Moors. So I said, yeah, I can go in there and straighten it out for you. I said, but it's going to cost you big time. So he said, look, whatever's going to cost me, he said, I need you to go in there and organize, clean the block up with your Moors, organize it. He said, I'll give you what you want. So I told him what I wanted. I wanted a card because even the officers couldn't do this. They couldn't go from block to block. I wanted a card. They give me carte blanche to go in any of the blocks to organize the religion. I just didn't go in there and organize the Moors. I organized the Christians, the Buddhists, the Sunnis, the Shiites. And I told them, I said, I want to be able to go in there doing working hours, and I want to organize the religions in all the blocks. And I said, I want you to open up the Buckner building, which was a double wide trail. And I said, I want you to let me get the police, the CO I want to work in that Buckner building. And we want to be able to have our guests to come over there. I said, where they can be with their guests sexually. So he said, man, if you can do my block like that, he said, no problem. Then I complained to him about the phones because the phones was in the back of the visitor hall. So I told him that you're paying officers to monitor phones. What's up with that? You see what I'm saying? They're supposed to be monitoring the inmates. They're beefing a lot about my Moors because that's how he was paying my Moors who I had on my last skate squad. He was paying them with phone time. See what I'm saying? So I say, you need to put the phones in the block and let the inmates run. This is how I began to impact law. This is how I began to be known as the mayor.
Okay, but now with your intelligence and good ideas and organizational skills and people skills, you must have also had a stick.
Oh, it's no question. There's no question. I never lightened up. I never lightened up. I constantly was on the offense. You know, I had.
Did anybody try to kill you?
Oh yeah, yeah. They tried to kill me. You know,
tell us
with their mouth. With their mouth, Al.
What's that mean?
See, I kept soldiers around me. You know, I was deep, and there was Moors, and it was like, man, you can't even get nowhere close to him. His Moors is always there, and them Moors will do anything he tell them to do. If he tell them to go out and stab you, they coming out to stab you. He got top soldiers. One brother, when I was on the hill, tried to assassinate my character. One brother, name was Ernie. I'm not even gonna call his whole name. I'm gonna spam. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show a little humility. You see what I'm saying? But his name was Ernie. And DC convicts, ex-cons know who I'm talking about. He slandered me. Al, I had 2 guns, man. I was going to escape with those guns. But when I made my first,
you mean firearms guns?
No, 357 Magnum, hollow bullets, hollow point bullets in it, and a 38 special.
Can you tell us how those came in, or you don't want to do that?
Oh man, I can tell your officer brought him in. I had officers on payroll, man. But see, here go the whole thing. I didn't have to pay nothing to get the officer to bring it in. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have to pay a thing. Loyalty. See, an officer's not going to put himself out there, his livelihood and his freedom, for no money. I had respect and loyalty, not just from the inmates, but from the officers as well. This particular dude, Ernie, when I took one of my pistols, and I realized I wasn't going to escape. So, you know, and I said, well, I'm not going to shoot nobody with it because I didn't need to. I got the knife. I was the only person that had pistols down there. So I remember the story, hearing the story about Petey Green. When Petey Green set up a stunt to talk down an inmate, I believe the inmate was Bill Brown. He was a Moor. He went up on water tower, and they had it set up where Green was like talking him down like it was
Petey Green, for those who don't know, was a big radio personality there in DC.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. The one that made the movie about. So I was trying to walk in his footsteps. I said, well, okay, because I'm trying to get out there to my sons. So I said, I might not get out. Let me go here and let me set it up where I can turn in my Magnum. And I know that'll put me to the street. You know, it's because they was looking for the gun because I set it up for them to look for the gun.
Oh, so they were in desperate search for the gun.
All that's detailed in my book, how I set that up, how I set the wire out, how I got certain people to say that it was a gun on the compound, and how I got the FBI to get involved and to come down.
Did that get you out?
Yeah, the FBI was involved in trying to find the gun.
I mean, did they get you out of prison early?
No, I was supposed to get out of prison, but you know what? Chat. See, I had so many people hating on me because I ruled Lawton with an iron hand. Man, my book don't even begin to tell how many people that I had conflict with, how many jaws I broke, how many guys I smacked, how many guys I had stabbed. I didn't stab nobody in law. I stabbed in the federal system. I didn't have to. I sent my soldiers out to stab because I know that stabbing somebody in law was to send me back to the federal system and I would end up in the ADX or even married. So I was smart. You know, I kept the soldiers around me who was willing to sling the knife. You know, so I turned in my gun. Long story short, I turned in one of my guns, and the director, he sent me to minimum. But the guys talked so bad because he was going to send me to the halfway house. They was talking everything. But the thing that really caught on was this dude that I smacked named Ernie. I smacked him because he owed me. He was running his mouth. And I felt like he was a bitch. So I bitch smacked him. You know, now normally you don't smack men, not strong men. It's like spitting on them. That's a sign of disrespect. And I smacked him. So when I went to minimum, after I set it up and turned my gun in, he was behind the wall and he slandered me. He put it out that, oh, that was my gun. He told on me. So that thing caught fire because it was a lot of people hating on me. Now, they didn't catch no fire with the guys, the strong men, because they knew better. And they knew that Ernie was a coward. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to write my book, because I wanted to clarify my position. So that's the only attempt I ever had in my life in the feds, in the BOP, or in law. And that was an attempt by way of mouth to assassinate my character, but it didn't work. And he's somewhere right now. High.
Well,
But he's not, I'm not, thinking about him in the least. I'm out here in the community. I
enjoying
go in
life.
the community regular. I want to emphasize this because I want my viewers to understand this. I go in the community regular. I donate money out of my pocket to help feed the underserved, the street people on the corner. When the temple was open before COVID, I make my meetings. I donate. I don't have no negative thoughts about nobody. I'm not right now having this interview to glorify my position, because I didn't have the fame. I didn't live the reputation. I am a legend. I can't take that back if I wanted to. DC legend and a legend in the BOP. They still talk about me. And I've been out here 20 years and I'm an old man now. And they still talking about me behind my back. So you know what that lets me know, Al? I took care of my business.
Living legend.
That's why I took care of my business because they still talking about me. And I'm not even studying them. I'm trying to be a servant of God. I'm trying to do his work. I'm not having no negative thoughts about nobody. I'm doing this interview right now, not to promote that lifestyle that I live, but to promote my book.
The hills
because
of
it
DC.
takes finance to uplift a nation. I need money to make a difference for the Moors. I need money to make a difference for my family, my two sons that's right here in this room with me right now, that's been with me ever since I came home. My two sons that I made in Lord. That's how we was rocking and rolling in Lord. I made 3 babies down there, 3 sons. One of them died, 2 of them lived. They've been with me ever since I've been home. They're right in this room with me. Love them to death. They were conceived right there in Lord because of my work. They was, I'm not telling you.
Oh, I got that picture. We got a picture up now of you holding a bottle of Hennessy, and that's in Lord.
July the 2nd. My birthday. Yeah. That's how I was rocking and rolling in Lord. I could get in Lord anything I wanted. I was getting bottles of water, pounds of weed, ounces of dope. And I'm not saying all that to glorify my position because that's over and done. That's the past. But if you want, I wrote the book as a deterrent to crime and violence for the younger guys. That's why I wrote the book. Not to glorify no position that I had, not to promote that lifestyle, but to simply keep people from becoming involved in that lifestyle and show them that what you can get. Because I started out 8, 9 years old. I had no idea that that lifestyle was going to get so deep for me that it took all my life to get out of it. The last chapter in my book is redemption. It took all those years of me struggling with my higher thoughts and my lower thoughts before I came to the realization that my lower thoughts, I'm going to contain them and it's not going to be a factor in my life. I created a safe haven down there in Lord. I got to emphasize that for a lot of brothers. And see, I know what I'm doing right now with this interview. No vanity. I'm not speaking vain. But see, to talk, that's not going to save nobody. Brothers done got into the habit of doing a lot of talking about who's right, who's wrong, who's doing this, who should be doing this, who shouldn't be doing that. And I'm saying, like, it's not creating no finance. Prophet Noble Jew Ali stressed and emphasized that it takes finance to uplift a nation. Without finance, we're just a beggar nation. We don't have no academic institutions. We don't have no medical institutions. We don't have no agricultural institutions. We're a beggar nation. You know, so I'm saying this to the Moors, don't hate on me because I'm trying to get finance to help uplift fallen humanity, to help the prophet in his gigantic mission. And I'm not talking about no nickel and dimes. I'm talking about finance that's going to make a difference.
thehillsofdc.com, buy the book. Now, let's go into our last question for today, and then because we got some more stuff coming in a few weeks, but tell us, let's go back and hit a little highlight reel of some of the DC gangsters from your day in the 60s and 70s and compare and contrast them with some of the names that younger people might know now, like, say, Wayne Perry or Rayful Edmonds.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that out because DC has a habit, or has a history, I should say, of pulling up his rug and sweeping his dirt under. But let me tell you something. During the late middle 60s and late 60s and early 70s, they had what you call a criminal underworld in DC. Now, when I speak about a criminal underworld in DC, it wasn't just a name. At night, when the neon lights came out, the city was hosted by the hustlers in the city, meaning that the entertainers who came down, James Brown and all them entertainers that came down to the Howard Theater, they were hosted by the hustlers in the city.
So did you travel? Did you get a chance in those years to be in other cities much? New York, Philly, Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore?
I've done a lot of travel.
Okay, so tell us how DC, and it must have been different with its predominantly Black population at that early date. Tell us how DC felt different and how that might have impacted the nature of the underworld. Well, how was DC different from other cities?
Because the culture was different. You know, just like when the DC printers went into the BOP, and they perpetuated fear. You know, they was like extortioners, armed robbers, and rapists. A lot of that was going on in Lawton, and it went into the BOP. So it's a whole different makeup. DC guys got a whole different makeup. Everybody will tell you that, you know. And that's why guys like, take nothing away from Rayful Edmonds, Wayne Perry, but they were what we call Johnny come late. You know, they came in the 80s. We had renowned, notorious, I'm talking about renowned, notorious underworld figures in DC. I mean, the media takes and glorify Jesse James, and a lot of those Babyface Nelson, John Dillinger. We had underworld figures in DC that was really more notorious than them. I can name a few. There's a lot of
about one or two. Book. Tell us about one. Tell us about one good one. Now we'll read the rest of your book.
I'll tell you about, I already told you about Cadillac. Cadillac made it to the top of DC's underworld in the early 70s.
And what was he doing for his hustle in the street?
He was robbing. He was robbing. He was kidnapping. He was
Drug
extorting.
dealing.
That's what
Drug
he was. And he was taken from the hustlers. You see. So, but he was just one. You had people like William Horst DeLoach. Now, he was William DeLoach, a living legend, Alcatraz man, served time in Alcatraz.
Oh, he's alive now?
No, he died. He just recently, he ain't died that long ago. Yeah. Go up on YouTube and they'll come up. You see, you had so many, you had people like Harry Hawks. Notably, at one point in time, he was the most vicious gangster in DC. Between him and maybe Francis Hopper. DeLoach killed Francis Hopper and his girlfriend. That was contract business
in the 60s?
Yeah, this happened in the early 70s. It's late 60s.
Early 70s.
Late 60s. Yeah, you're right. About like 69. Hawk got killed in 69, sitting in the car. One of my mentors, Virginia Rudy, it's another notorious gangster that was from Alexandria, Virginia, that was wreaking havoc. And as I might add, Cadillac was from Virginia himself.
Oh, okay.
Was born in Virginia. Yeah. So, but you had gangsters like that, Big John, just to name a few. Big John Joseph, Vernon Cooper. These people, your man Big Boy, Linwood Gray.
Yeah, Linwood Gray.
Yeah, that you asked me about. Yeah, these people were they were notorious, and they were well known. They, and some of them was hustlers, but the majority of them was like cold-blooded predators, cold-blooded killers. And not to speak bad about anyone, but the Jamaicans, when they came down here, the brothers from New York, yeah, they done their thing. They couldn't have survived down here during that time when we had an underworld. You see,
and you guys were mostly all locked up at that point.
They was mostly dead,
or in Lorton,
and the ones that wasn't dead were locked up. By the time they got down here, Wayne Perry, Rayful Evans, and all that, the underworld had diminished. See, before them, it was organized crime. Like I was saying, the entertainers came down here to entertain, at the Howard and different other theaters. You see what I'm saying? They was hosted by the hustlers, the number backers, the pimps, the bootleggers, the drug boys. But see, here go the thing: the grifters, the con artists, all of them was happening in this city. This city was a hustler spot. But then you had the gangsters, so-called gangsters. I call them underworld figures. They was the ones that you had to worry about because they were sticking up. They were sticking up the number backers. They were sticking up the drug boys. They was taking the pimps' money. See, so that's what was going on in the city.
All right, well, that's a great way to end it. And we want them to go get your book, The Hills of DC. And we can't wait for our next round of interviews in another couple of weeks. And I might be out there to see you at the end of the month in person.
I would really enjoy that. We do it.
We're gonna go to Ben's Chili Bowl.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, Nathan McQueen L, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Al, and thank you for having me, man. And I look forward to the next video.
All right, we'll touch base offline. Bye.
Stay blessed and stay safe. All right.